today Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had revealed her Green New Deal plan. Now, this Green New Deal is a non-binding, piece. So what that means is basically my understanding of this is it's not actual like law. It's basically something that is a representation of the positions of the House. So I believe I think it can just pass the House and it'll be a House non-binding piece. But what that'll mean is, and I believe that there was one done in like '07 where the House they passed one to say we do not agree with and we condemn Bush's increase of Iraq war soldiers that he's placing in. So that's what this is. And if you read through it, and I read through it, it basically talks about how we need to get off carbon emission. We need to be, I believe, net zero carbon emissions. I think she said in 10 years, by 2030, if I'm not mistaken. And it also has in there a bunch of stuff that is not about the Green New Deal, but rather about just progressive positions in general. So things like, I believe she has in there that everyone should be able to have a job and things like that. So there were a lot of progressive positions in there, period. And all of the candidates for president came out endorsing it, funny enough. Gee, I wonder why they did that. Kirsten Gillibrand did that. It's such a joke. Same thing with Kamala Harris. These guys are frauds. They don't even know what the fuck. They probably didn't even read the shit. But Nancy Pelosi, piece of shit, piece of trash. Fuck Nancy Pelosi. She's taking some shots at AOC. So we finna come at you. Here's what CNN says. It goes on to say, it says Thursday's a big day for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the New York freshman Democrat, who has rapidly become one of the biggest stars in her party, will formally introduce her much-touted Green New Deal, a package of legislation aimed at, among other things, addressing the threat posed by climate change. It says Nancy Pelosi isn't all that impressed. Asked about the Green New Deal in an interview with Politico on Wednesday, Pelosi dropped this amazing bit of shade on it. Quote, "It will be one of several or maybe many suggestions that we receive. The Green Dream, or whatever they call it, nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right?" Trying to take some shots. That's what you're trying to do. Calling it the Green Dream, or whatever they call it. So what she's doing, obviously, is just brazenly taking shots at AOC. Now, apparently, there's also something else that I believe it was this article that goes on to talk about this. It talks about how, and here it is, it says, earlier this year, Ocasio-Cortez was passed over for a spot on the powerful Ways and Means Committee, despite the fact that Joe Crowley, who she beat in a primary last summer, had a seat on Ways and Means. That decision didn't come by accident, and it didn't come without Pelosi knowing about it and likely directing it. So there's a low-key war. Unfortunately, I feel like I saw a tweet from AOC praising Nancy before on something, which is unfortunate because Nancy's a piece of shit and fuck Nancy Pelosi. But Pelosi, guys, I didn't know this. Her net worth is like $24 million, and I believe Feinstein's like 100. I hope I'm right on that one. It was someone who had 100 million net worth, but she doesn't represent you. She's got $24 million in net worth. And here, let me clarify for you. Just because she has $24 million in net worth doesn't mean that she can't represent us, but she's not, because we see by her own actions. Okay? So that doesn't make it, you being worth $24 million doesn't mean that it's a disqualifier. But we compound that with the evidence of what the fuck you've done, and then we come to the conclusion, your bitch ass isn't representing us. And that's what Nancy Pelosi is doing. She's not representing us. She has a fuck ton of money. She's a geezer who, for whatever reason, is hanging on to her seat, who is super out of touch. And again, the old thing is irrelevant, despite the fact that she is not representing the people. And I'm not even sure why she had a primary challenger. I guess he did not win. But Nancy Pelosi fucking sucks big time. You guys saw the clap that she gave when Trump shat on socialism, which is a weird dynamic in the first place because, and I'll quickly explain what I mean by that, is that, AOC and Bernie Sanders don't want socialism. They're social democrats. They're not socialists. They don't want all of the means of production to be owned by workers. That's not what they want. So the idea of them being pissed off at that is kind of ridiculous, but it's understandable from their position because it's, what Trump is perceiving as socialism is their positions. So I get that. And Nancy Pelosi gave the clap. Where everyone, by the way, was like memeing that as if it was some shit where like Nancy Pelosi has Trump's balls or something like that, or it was a fuck you clap. Dude, it was a suck your dick clap. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, she was agreeing, and she clarified it too. She was like, it's legitimate agreement with bipartisanship on fuck socialism. And I'm not even socialist, but what I just explained to you is socialism in this case represents what AOC and Bernie support, which is really social democracy, but Trump is a, dumbass buffoon who doesn't know anything, so obviously he's going to say that it's socialism because he's a dumbass. But the point here is that Nancy Pelosi is not your friend. Nancy Pelosi fucking sucks. Hopefully J-Dems will get a primary challenge. I really don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. But, dude, Nancy Pelosi is not representing you. She's just representing her wealthy ass and her friends. That's what she's doing.